Heather here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about all of the books that I read in May of 2021. I will say I did not follow my TBR list that I posted at the end of my April wrap-up video, which I will leave a link up here to that video. I did not stick to it very well. I didn't feel well for most of May, and I just didn't feel in the mood to read. I also wasn't really in the mood for the books that I had picked back in April, so May wasn't the best reading month. And then some of the books that I was really excited for kind of let me down, and I don't know if that's because I wasn't feeling well or if it just I hyped the books up too much and then they just weren't as good as I was thinking. So that being said, if you like book-related content and you like wrap-ups, please give this video a big old thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. That way you know the next time I post a video. But yes, in total I read 6 books in the month of May, which is not bad. That's actually a good amount of books. It's just when I've been reading like 11 books on average, and that's how much I'm planning on reading, that's like half of my goal. But I still did a good job. Still proud of myself, pat myself. It's all good. The first book I read, I actually started this in April and then I finished it in May, and that is The Here and Now by Anne Brashares. She is, I think, the most well known for writing The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. This was not originally on my April TBR. Like, I was like looking over my TBR and I was just like not in the mood for any of that. So I just went into my library and looked at my shelves and I saw this one and I was like, oh, I have this book. I've had it for years and I've never read it. Let's go ahead and check it out. And it wasn't my favorite of hers, but it was still very enjoyable. So it's about Prenna, who comes from the future with this group of other people to escape this like virus that has pretty much killed everyone in the future, and they come back to like I want to say our time, but this like was written several years ago, so I think it was like the early 2000s, to kind of change what like the circumstances and things that are going to happen to cause this virus in the future. Well, one of the main rules that they're supposed to follow is that they can't fall in love with normies or like people from the 2000 era, you know. They have to stay within the community, and of course Prenna and this guy from our time end up like forming this thing, and there's like this whole mystery going on about why they actually came back and like different stuff that's going on in their community, and it was pretty exciting. It was kind of really short though. Yeah, it was like 240 some pages. So I feel like she could have really expanded on this and done more and maybe put more action and suspense or something in it. But I do believe this is a YA novel, so it is kind of not as intense as an adult novel would be. But I still really enjoyed it, and I think I gave it a 3 stars, I'm pretty sure. So yes. Then I also read Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. And this I really loved. If you love Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, you'll probably actually really like this. We have Eliza, who is writing under a pen name this really popular like webcomic, and it has like millions of followers. She has merchandise for it. She's got her own little business. And she's like making a killing off of this, but no one actually knows who the author is of this webcomic. One of her biggest like followers or fans, who's like well known on their forums and also has a hidden identity, ends up at her school and they end up becoming friends, but she doesn't tell him who she is. And of course that causes problems and like drama happens, but it's just, it was so good. Like, I really related to Eliza, even though I'm not famous or have a webcomic or like secret identity or anything, but still that whole like really being passionate about something and loving something and like trying to really find people who like understand you and get you, like I I really like felt with Eliza. She also has like anxiety issues, like social anxiety, which I also have. So I really like related to her about that too. And it's really nice because they actually show like little clips and drawings and things from her comic. And it's also kind of like mixed media. So you have like emails in here, you have letters, you have text messages, you have the comics. So there's a lot of different like formats of writing in this book, which is also, I really like that in books. I like the whole mixed like content. It's not just all writing. So yes, I think I gave this one either a 4 or 5 stars because I really, really liked it. This was one that I was very happy with this month. Then I read, this was a reread, and I also have a reading vlog on this, and I will leave a link up in the corner for this. I absolutely adore this book. It's Nevermoor by Harold Shinkter. This is book 1 of the Edgar Allan Poe mystery series, and I'm actually going to be reading book 2, The Humbug, in June. I already started it, and I'm loving it. But this is the first book, and Edgar Allan Poe and Davy Crockett have to team up to go and solve some murders that are happening around town and figure out who's doing it. And it was just so good, and I reread it, and I honestly had forgotten so much. Like, all I remembered was that it was about Davy Crockett and Edgar Allan Poe teaming up to go and, like, solve these murders, and that it was written in Edgar Allan Poe's writing style, which is personally my favorite thing about the book, is the writing style. I love it. It's so beautiful. So I really enjoyed my reread of this. The ending was a shocker again because, like, I had totally forgotten the ending. So yes, if you want to know more about this book, check out my reading vlog. I talk about it more there, and I really can't wait to start reading the rest of the series, and I love this. I love this. That's all I'm going to say. This was the best read, and it was a reread, so I guess once you love a book, you kind of almost always love the book. And then this here was one of my disappointments. It is The Map of Time by Felix J. Palma. Like, I've been wanting to read this book for, I think, probably like a decade or something like that. I'd seen it on, in a local bookstore where I went to college, and I was thinking of buying it, but they were, like, charging the full, like, $16 or whatever for a paperback. It's kind of expensive when you're in college. So I never ended up picking it up, and then I picked up at Wonder Books because it was $4.95. Yes, we love a good deal on books. And I thought I was going to love this book so much, which, I mean, the cover is gorgeous. That is a beautiful cover. I absolutely love that cover. But I thought I was going to absolutely love this book, and I bought the rest of the series before I even started reading the first book. Which I'm still going to read them. It wasn't like... I want to say the book doesn't give you what you're expecting, but it's still a good read. It's just, it wasn't what I was wanting out of a novel. Because it tells you, like, there's going to be, like, time travel and adventure and, like, you know, H.G. Wells and, like, it's going to incorporate all these other things. And it just sounded, like, so exciting and so... But in actuality, it's a book that has 3 different stories, like 3 separate stories that kind of all, like the characters are in, like, all 3 stories, but they can kind of be read in just, like, those stories. Or, like, starting off, I was, like, reading the first story, and I'm just like, what's going on? Like, what does this have to do with time travel? What does this have to do with H.G. Wells? What, like, I think, like, 50-some pages in, and the author's like, I know I promised you time travel. I know I promised you this and that. Don't worry, we're getting there. We're building up. Which I thought that, like, the author being in tune to, at that point, the readers are going to be going, what am I reading? Was very intuitive and very intelligent of him to do that. Because I was literally ranting to my husband about it, like, complaining about the book, and then I started reading the next chapter that has, like, that blurb from the author, and I'm just like, oh, that's really clever. So he makes a lot of, like, clever, like, statements, and he is kind of aware of how he's going to be making the reader feel, which I thought was interesting. But and there is time travel in it, but it's just not what I was hoping for. And even though the writing is like clever in parts, it doesn't flow as well. And like sometimes I felt like the author was cheating the reader. And also I feel like this is more sci-fi than I thought it was going to be. Because like time travel is sci-fi, but then like there's like the type of sci-fi that also kind of like messes with your brain and like throws in things. And it's just, I think this said it was genre bending. So I just wanted a good time travel novel, and that's not really what I got. So it's still good, and I'm still going to finish the series, but it just wasn't as amazing as I thought it was going to be. But now knowing kind of how the author writes and like the curveballs he throws, I might enjoy books 2 and 3 more because I now know what to expect, where going into this I did not know. Like, my expectations were not met. It was not. But yes, I think I ended up giving this 3 stars because it was still good. It's just, yet again, not what was sold to me. So, yes. And then I read Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. And this was one of my most anticipated reads of the year. And I was very much let down. Because they were like, oh, it's like Asian, the Princess Diaries, you know, oh, it's so cute, it's this, it's that. No. It's basically What a Girl Wants, the movie that starred Amanda Bynes, with an Asian cast. Which, if I had never watched What a Girl Wants, and I've watched What a Girl Wants, like, so many times because it's, like, one of my mom's and my most favorite movies, and I hadn't, like, if I had watched that one once, or maybe if I had never watched it at all, then I would have really liked Tokyo Ever After, but because it, like, literally is almost a carbon copy of that movie. You have a girl who doesn't know who her father is, and then finds out that he is the Crown Prince of Japan, and she contacts him, and he whisks her away to Japan, where she's being sabotaged by, like, her cousins, and, like, she's expected to dress a certain way, and, like, the paparazzis are, like, following her, and, like, there's, like, the male love interest who is below her, and he basically uses the exact same line, just reworded, from What a Girl Wants, that male love interest says to the main girl character. I was just like, really? You're gonna take almost the exact same line and just reword it? I was pretty much, like, ticked at that point, because I'm like, I already felt like I was reading What a Girl Wants, and then they used the exact same line pretty much, and I was just like, yeah. So, I mean, if you've never seen What a Girl Wants, you don't know the premise or anything of that, then you'd really love this book. But I felt like I was just reading the book version set in Japan of What a Girl Wants. So I was very much let down because it wasn't new, it wasn't exciting, it was like a carbon copy like story, pretty much. So I think I ended up giving it like 3 stars because, yet again, I was comparing it to the movie that I've watched like probably 20 plus times. So I know the story like the back of my hand, and it wasn't what I wanted. I was hoping for the Princess Diaries, and I got What a Girl Wants. But, I mean, I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't as amazing or special or unique or whatever as I was hoping it would be. And then the last book I read was Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth, and this is by the same author who wrote the Divergent series. This was another one that I was kind of let down by because I read the synopsis of it and it sounded really good. It's like, you know, you read all these stories about the Chosen Ones, about them saving the world, and then it's like, well, what happens to them after they're no longer the Chosen Ones? Like, what is their life like after they've saved the world? And, like, that idea seemed really cool. Like, I haven't read a book like that before. So I was like, oh, this sounds really good. Like, I'm excited for this. Plus, I really love the Divergent series. It didn't translate to film very well, but the books themselves were amazing. So I was really looking forward to this. And starting off it was a letdown. But I feel like it picked up towards the end and finished well. So you basically have these five people who were the chosen ones, and they saved the world 10 years ago. And now it's kind of like you're following them about like how their lives are now, what's happened since then, and you also get flashbacks to that time period when they did save the world. So we follow Simone, who is kind of like this angsty, kind of like dark, anxious, kind of has PTSD character, and we get her perspective throughout the whole thing. And then we also have like documents, like government documents and newspaper clippings and like snippets from, I think, books and different things talking about like what's going on in the world concerning like magic, because there is a magic system. But in the world that they're in, magic's kind of like not really utilized, and you have to have certain like special objects to harness this magic. Well, there's like weird things happening, like a farmer and a crop like showing up underwater, people like walking in the air and then like disappearing, and like something's going on. So the chosen ones are kind of pulled back into trying to figure out what's going on by the government, and they're then transported to this alternate universe that is like merging with ours, and they are told that they have to defeat the bad guy, or the two universes are going to converge and everyone's going to die and their universes will cease to exist. So like the first half was okay, but then the second half, when they actually go to this other universe and are like trying to find the bad guy and figure out what's going on because they don't know the people who like took them there either, that part got really good. I will say there are trigger warnings about like suicide, mental health issues, and racism in the book, so be warned of those triggers. But yeah, I think I also gave it like a 3 stars. So none of the books I read got less than a 3-star, but like only 1 or 2 got like a 4 or 5 stars. Most of them got 3 stars. So yeah, that was my reading month. I'm hoping to do better. If you want to know what I'm reading for June, I will have at the end credits all of the books that I'm planning to read for June. I probably will not get to them all, and it might change, but that is my plan. As of right now, it is actually June 6th, so I have finished one of the books on my TBR already, and I'm working on 2 other ones that are on my TBR. So as of right now, I'm sticking to it, but it still isn't finite. And I'm actually thinking about maybe in either July or August, I'll start actually doing my like TBR like video, and because I want to come up with like a game or like some type of way to like get all of the books that I have and try to mix it up with what I'm reading instead of just focusing on like new things or just like digital books or whatever, because a lot of times I'm getting excited about things that I'm watching other YouTubers or other booktubers talk about, or like new books that are just like I just purchased, and I really need to read the backlog of books I have too. So I'm thinking I want to come up with a game or some type of like different jars for different like sections of my huge TBR list that's ever growing, and maybe just randomly pick things out of there. But if you have any thoughts for like a fun game or a cool way to kind of like choose what I should read next, because I was thinking about like doing like reading a standalone a book continuing a series, because I have tons of series where I read like the first book or 2 and then I have the rest of the series but I never finished reading them, and then I get distracted by a new shiny series and it just all goes downhill from there. Then also maybe doing one for like a new series to start reading. And then I was also thinking of, I also have like giveaway books that I won that I need to read, like giveaways from Goodreads that you're supposed to read and leave reviews for, and I have like 8 or something like that I haven't read yet, and it's just like, oh, I need to get to that, but I'm in the mood for this. So I'm thinking about maybe also having that as a category so I can get those read and reviews written or, you know, videos made, reviews about those books. So yeah, just let me know down in the comments down below any ideas that you have that you think would be fun to kind of like choose books for these different categories. That way I can kind of make a fun TBR video instead of just, oh, these are the books I plan on reading. I want to make it fun, because otherwise it's just going to be like, oh, this is what I want to read, and then at the end of the month it's going to be, this is what I read. And that just, we want to spice it up. We want to make it exciting. So yeah, just give me your ideas. I hope you liked this video. Also, let me know down in the comments down below either what you read in May and or what you're planning on reading in June. Because I'd love to talk to some people about books. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!